I've had comments about Ayn Rand over the years, and here's one comment, okay, that came up lately. And one visitor said, Rand herself was at the very least close to saying the same thing as you, just expressed in different terms. No, absolutely not. We got a problem there, and I'm going to clarify all that, right? Science studies concrete objects. No. And I made that same error in the past. I've corrected it, so I want people to be clear on that. The word studies is a problem. Science doesn't study anything. You can study all year and not know anything. You cannot explain a single thing. You can, study birds. You can study for the test and fail the test. So is studying science? Studying is the wrong word to use to define science. Science is not about studying. Science is about explaining. You need to explain something. That's how you show that you know, okay? And does it study concrete objects? Well, not according to the new version of science that we have now, okay? The new version of science says the following here, okay? Science is divided into two branches. Science is about explaining rationally, and there's two branches. One is physics, the other one is philosophy. Physics studies objects and causes and mechanisms, and philosophy deals with concepts and deals with reasons and purpose. So we don't just study, we explain, okay? And in the case of physics, yeah, you need objects, concrete objects. That's physics. But in philosophy, we don't use objects. Philosophy, we need to know why someone did something, the reasons. It could be psychiatry, it could be history. Okay, you can talk about why Napoleon went to Waterloo, in 1815. What was what went through his mind? What was his purpose? Okay, so that's an explanation. Different people have different theories. Okay. Ayn Rand then continues, and she says objectivism. That's what her philosophy is known as. She placed too much emphasis on mathematics, unlike you. Yeah, and that's the problem, because as you see in the next statement, many objectivists, right, are indoctrinated by the modern physics of quantum. See, if you make emphasis on mathematics, you end up with quantum mechanics, which is an irrational theory. Why? Because the explanations are irrational. Okay, so the issue here is that when you introduce mathematics into science, you end up with, especially into physics, right? You end up with irrational explanations, because mathematics has nothing to do with science or with physics. Mathematics is just a description. An equation is just a description. And that's not what science is. And science is what? An explanation. It's not the study of, no, it's an explanation. You have to explain something. Whether you philosophy or physics, you got to explain something. That's how that's where science vibrates. That's where you use your brain. So mathematics ended up with quantum mechanics, and quantum mechanics tells you some weird things like, a particle can be at two places at once. Decoherence. What is that? What do you mean a particle can be at two places at once? And then this visitor also said, you are doing epistemology, whether you like it or not. No, I'm not doing epistemology. I'm not doing ontology. I'm not doing philosophy. That's not what I'm doing. Let's get it right. Let's at least understand what I'm trying to do here, okay? That's important. What I'm trying to do is lay the foundations of physics. That's different. Every discipline has to have a foundation, okay? You have to have the words. To do law, you need to know maybe what crime is, or what stealing is, or what punishment is. To do medicine, you might need to know what disease means, or what illness means, or what cure means. In physics, we need to lay the foundations. The foundations is first that you need an object, and then you have all those words right underneath there: something, nothing, concept, distance, location, exist, and motion. Those are sine qua non words that you need to define for the purposes of physics. So no, I'm not doing philosophy here. Has nothing to do with philosophy. It has to do with laying the foundations for physics so that we can explain how Mother Nature runs her shop. That's what it's about. Okay? And then this person continued and said, let's see if I can get it here. Let me get this one out. This person says the following, says, Ayn Rand just wasn't as definite as you about existent object. No kidding. Certainly wasn't at all. In fact, she didn't define object, and because she didn't define object, did not know what an object was. She ended up not knowing what exist means. And, she talked a lot about existence, as I'll show in a little while, right? Probably not today, but next couple times I will be talking about existence quite a bit. And it did make the distinction between existence and that which is product of consciousness, concepts. No, because in fact this same person later on says that concepts exist. So she did not make a distinction, and I'm going to go over that as well. Ayn Rand was not able to zero in on the difference between a concept and an object, not that precisely. And because of that, she did end up saying that concepts do exist because she was using the definition of ordinary speech, the informal definition of exist. She had no real definition of the word exist, and we'll get to that, okay?